And we are rolling.
So, as we were discussing a little bit ago, I felt, obviously normally I'm wearing a blue for any home match, but particularly against the Rags. However, we have, in light of some recent news, uh, I'm wearing the only thing I have that's city black, other than my tracker. I'm not, just wear that. But Mary D, like a true fucking blue. And the namesake of the namesake bar for City fan. Like, I mean, it today we found out she has passed, and it's yeah, we're here in mourning for like Mary D. I mean, cheers to you, cheers to everything that you did, cheers to everything you supplied. I am really upset that I did not get to come to that pub before you passed and get to have beer sprayed all over and fucking just smell like sticky beer all day. Like I really, I'm really sad that it will be after your time, but it's still your legacy. And so, cheers to you, Mary D.
Absolutely. You said everything perfectly, Kyle. And you hit the nail on the head. Was that we're hoping to have gotten over there and gotten to that bar while she was still with us. Whenever we've talked to any City fan that is from there, that's always the first spot that they recommend and say you have to go to Mary D's on a match day. That's a staple to must do. So big ups, lots of respect, and rest in peace and heaven, whatever you want to say, to a legend. And with that, we will jump into our show.
You are now tuned into the Snobby Boy Podcast.
Well, a lot's happened since the last time we had a show, huh?
Well, we've not been great apparently lately about keeping it with matches. However, yes. I mean, okay. So when this comes out, just a couple days ago, but tonight it's fucking hot and burning and fresh.
Ah,
For
Ballon
UEFA.
d'Or. Ballon d'Or. As we're recording this on Monday night. For those who are listening, Kyle's putting a big middle finger straight up to UEFA and to the voters of the Ballon d'Or. Hot
Shame
off the
on you.
press. Shame on you. Hot off the presses. Messi has won his 8th Ballon d'Or. I think most rational and knowledgeable footy fans would recognize that Holland absolutely deserved this award more than Messi did in this particular situation. This was a lifetime achievement slash Messi finally conquered the one hurdle that he hadn't conquered yet in football, which was winning the World Cup. So for a month of play and what
Come on,
seven,
that's a way. It was like
yeah,
barely 2 weeks of play.
with
Like,
with what 7 games, was it six matches that they ended up playing, and
and we were talking about this earlier. Who really did the work? Because to me, I saw Julian
well,
Alvarez out there fucking smoking goals and shit. And I saw Messi. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's still being the creative player that he is, but he was not the Messi that deserves a fucking Ballon d'Or. Like, get the fuck out of here. Jeez, like, what do you have to do now to win it? Like, so I guess Erling Haaland had to win the treble, the World Cup, break every fucking goal scoring record there is in the Premier League, and suck off some UEFA people. I don't know. I don't know what the rules are because they get changed every year. So maybe it's suck off a UEFA person. I don't know. I'm sorry if that's too far for you. Apologize for my language. I'm
like
rolling.
we said, like as we said, this is fresh. We just found out about an hour ago that Messi officially won. The leaked reports were, about a week ago that this was Messi's award, and everybody kind of figured that was going to be the case just because we know how these voters behave. They did this in 2021 when Messi won it, when there was a year, the COVID year, which was Lewandowski's award to win. Everybody recognized that,
Everybody.
and they used a technicality of that performance didn't count towards the 2021 Ballon d'Or award. So it was a qualification, and they moved the goalpost, as they say, to make it so Messi won. And I'm just as pissed as Kyle is. let me preface this by saying this is not a shot at Messi, okay? All of you Messi lovers, we are not hating on Messi. We love him. He's great. He's fantastic. This is
Number
strictly
Number two.
He should have been second this year to Erling Haaland. And this is
Mbappe
a shot.
doesn't deserve second. Yeah.
No, he was not good either. Again, great World Cup, but guess what? Those players got recognized already for their performances in the World Cup by getting player of the tournament and the fucking trophy. So this is not a shot at them. This is any angst you hear from us. This is directed at the voters and the process, not at Messi himself. Because he had a great, you accomplished the World Cup. He put up some good numbers, but it does not equate to being better than a treble and all of the records that Haaland set goal scoring wise in a new league with his first year with his team and
a much more difficult league than the league he was in.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, God. So on that, again, I'm the biggest fuck Ronaldo pro Messi person all day long. But like in this, we have to acknowledge the dude fucking scored 11 goals in 34 matches with PSG. Like, that does not a fucking Ballon d'Or make. I don't give a shit if you win the World Cup. The dude who scores fucking 71 all matches or all comps, goals and assists, 71 contributions, 71, which is up there for some Messi numbers, by the way, and wins the fucking English treble, which I'm sorry, La Liga is bigger, and like that isn't enough for this guy to. I mean, fucking pull your head out of your ass, UEFA. A bullshit. Is that bullshit?
100%. Other news in the Ballon d'Or: City did win Team of the Year for the second year in a row. So kudos and where is my button? There it is. Here we go. Kudos to City for that. They got that one right. UEFA, you got that one right. Haaland, you did win Striker of the Year. Duh. Clap it up.
But that did seem like a half-ass like nod toward like, hey, we're gonna fuck you in about a half hour. Like
exactly, 100%. And another nice thing, I guess, if you want to spin this a little bit to something positive, is that of the top five, we had three players place in the top five. We had Rodri and Kevin in the top five with Messi, Mbappe, and Erling Haaland. So, you don't see that very often.
It's kind of massive.
Yeah, that's a big, it sucks that Erling didn't win, but for us to have three players in the top five, and then just the sheer number of players in, I guess, what's the top 30, something like that, 40, whatever the number was.
100 even, like.
Yeah, well, at the ceremony, I feel like we had like a damn near full starting 11 there being represented. So
I think we had more than that even.
It might have been more, yeah.
I'd have to check, but yeah.
So we were well represented. Unfortunately, we did not pull home the big trophy, but there was a lot of good from the ceremony that City got well represented in that regard. But still, it's very frustrating, and it's something we all knew going into this was going to happen, but it still doesn't make it sting less at this point. So it's just
one of those things where Erling's coming home, and all the boys have like a fake trophy for him, like. Let's just fucking drink right now. Like, we don't have a mat. Come on, let's fucking party on Monday night. Like, fuck those motherfuckers. They were wrong. Because it's like a 2-hour flight, maybe hour and a half flight.
Yes. Yep. And no midweek game this week. So there's no Champions League football, no FA Cup or anything. So let's have a great fucking time and enjoy ourselves and then get back to work for Bournemouth this weekend.
Yeah, not as bad as Erling was on that flight too. So yeah.
Right. And in that regard, I saw in the governor's page on Facebook, someone asked the question, do you think this is going to shake his confidence, or is he going to use this to fuel himself? And I said 1,000% he is going to use this as fuel for the fire, and teams better look out, because you could tell the last couple games, whenever he scored, there's been an extra large like fist pump and scream and yell and celebration. So you can tell he's pissed about either the negative talk about not scoring a lot, if it's the Ballon d'Or and he wants to use that as motivation to stick it to people, good on him. So on the bright side, maybe this fuels him to be taken to new heights and he just wrecks people going forward, which would be really awesome to see.
That's what's gotta happen. That is what's going to like you said, especially like you've in the last 2-3 matches, we have seen phase in, mid phase, early. And so I think every fucking club needs to be on alert right now. English, European, whatever the fuck we're facing, like you're facing a guy who is mad, who is like, what the fuck what the fuck else do I have to do? But like he's like, okay, well, you know, Messi's gonna fall off because now he doesn't. I mean, so how long do you think Messi gets picked for Argentina playing in the MLS? Is he just Messi? Is he just Messi and can just he is like a fucking lifetime scholarship, or you know what I'm saying?
I think that's 100% the case on my other show that we do on occasion with Stoppage Time. My man Diego is from Argentinian descent, and he's pretty connected into what goes on with that team from just following it all the time. So he knows, and that's everything that he's told me is regardless of what league he's in, as long as Messi wants to continue playing for the national team, they will select him. So
yeah.
But how long does he want to keep doing that? He's trying to build his brand by coming to the U.S. Not that he needs building anymore because he's the biggest fucking name in the sport, whether it's even outside of Instagram followers because Ronaldo's got that pegged. But Messi is Messi, and he's now in the U.S. growing his brand here, helping grow the sport, however you might want to look at that. So he's going to be in the public eye as long as he wants to be with regard to playing. So
see that last bit is how I do look at it. Like growing the sport, I think, is his main concept, and by cutting in with Inter Miami, I'm sure there's a back end deal somewhere there with David Beckham where it's like, dude, you're going to be front office. Like, as soon as you're fucking done, you call the day, whatever it is. We don't give a shit. Play until you're fucking dead or play next year. You will generate us so much money in 1 year or 2 years. Like, it's okay. And back a house, and you'll still generate us money by just like doing some pressers here and there. And like, even if he's just like a free kick coach or something, just bring in that fucking guy. You know what I'm saying?
Just
like,
something simple.
Can you imagine taking free kick coaching from fucking Lionel Messi? Like, Jesus Christ.
Talk about improvement quickly on your technique and everything. Jesus.
Exactly. And that's why I think he'd probably be in like actually still like an assistant coach role for a little bit. But basically, I think that is what we're going to see the progression of Inter Miami and thus the progression of the MLS. Like, train of thought here, but I'm just saying, like, I think that move was Beckham being like, okay, there's a whole field of fucking people out here that we can play with. We just have to get them to change their mentality about promotion relegation. And once that happens, then there's all kinds of opportunity for so many more people in a country to come and play the game. And that's why no one does, or not enough people do, is because it's pay for play.
Living that life right now with both of my daughters in there. Side question, I guess, for you, since you followed the sport for a while in the U.S. Where's the disconnect in your eyes? Because it seems like every little kid from when they're 4 to maybe 7 or 8 play soccer. That's one of the easiest ones to get into, right? That's an easy one to start, easy to play, easy to follow.
Scares less parents.
Yeah, and when you look on the weekends in the fall and spring at the parks, there's soccer matches going on everywhere. There's tons of people and adults at these games watching. How come those people who have their kids in the sport and are there committing their time aren't trained? Like, where's the disconnect? Because there's obviously lots of people into the game when their kids are little, but it's not translating to like numbers, either watching the sport or like continuing. You know, like I've always wondered that a little bit.
Well, so first of all, when you see that, you're seeing rec league, and like, I mean, any sport you play, once you get into a certain level of the game, and like, I was by no means a great I was by no means a good basketball player in my opinion, like, but I was adequate. My rec league games were just like my fun games, you know. So like that's where that disconnect is that like rec league games, yeah, you're gonna have like 1,000 people playing them, but 30 are good.
Or their families are actually like into it and would consider themselves like a soccer family.
Their families or them as players, like it's truly like that level of communal dedication to really build. If we're talking about like a pro athlete, it's got to be the family and the player who just like give a shit. I mean, for sure, like you know, sometimes the situation is the kid just gives a shit way more and proves to the parents like, hey, I'm here for this. I want to play this game. I'm going to do everything. Like you'll see me outside hours a day, just doing whatever I can. And that has to happen. Then family has to happen. And that's all that should need to happen for a good player. Like it shouldn't need to be that family has to have $3,000 a month to play this fucking for this one club. Like that's fucking bullshit. Let this kid come who is giving all of his heart every day for hours a day to this game. Give him a chance to play with a good coach and see what that does for his abilities, you know?
Zlatan hit the nail on the head when he was still playing with the Galaxy with how ridiculous the U.S. soccer system is with the pay-for-play that we've kind of referenced. So he nailed that when he was here, and the comment, and it's Zlatan normally is spot on with his shit, right?
I mean, he's not holding back at least.
No, exactly. So forgive us on our little tangent to bring it back around. But sometimes it's fun to talk about other things sometimes, and hopefully y'all enjoy our tangents, as we say. So,
and we assume a lot of you are American, so
yes,
you hate the MLS as much as we do, you know.
There you go. So, on the next note, something else we referenced when this drops 2 days ago. We had a derby that went down on Sunday. And
I heard tell.
And it went about the way I expected. I can't say I was disappointed in how things went. I felt like the scoreline somewhat reflected our dominance. I felt like maybe a fourth or a fifth could have really illustrated illustrated how much it was the golfing class was. It like watching that game. Initial thought was, holy shit! The gap between the blue side of Manchester and the red side is massive. It is from top to bottom. It's just so big right now, and I love it. I love it.
They're a mid-table club at best right now, the way they're playing. Like, and really like a sub-mid table, if we're being honest. I mean, it was so. Obviously, you all don't know this because you're not in my life. But I had a buddy come visit, old friend from Denver, came out of Chicago. It's like, hey, literally the weekend before was like we were like, dude, next weekend's the Derby, and I'm sorry, Derby for those who don't know how to pronounce DER, but so just throwing it out there. So yeah, he comes to visit because he's a rag. I'm a fucking blue, and we were like, it's a fucking Derby. Let's fucking do it. Let's party all weekend and get after it. And the whole time he is like putting bets out. We're both like maybe addicted bettors, but we'll see. Yeah, he's just like, United this, United that. I'm like, dude, you better just be throwing draws at best out there because that's the only thing you have going for you. And so eventually he starts realizing that, I've been drunk this whole time and these are bad bets. So the morning of, my favorite thing of the morning of is he starts telling me the odds of 6-1. And I'm like, I mean, so I put $5 down to win. I think it was like $700 or something like that. He's like, fuck it. And I think he put like 20 down to win like $2,000. It was like,
roll the fucking dice.
I'm saying like it was like a rag putting $20 down on City to win 6-1 is like that's the golf to me. Like circling back to that, like that just shows like you all fucking know. Like you can say all the shit you want. Rash is gonna score a hat, or Bruno is not gonna be a diving little pussy bitch. It's all bullshit. City, we are better. Just sit in it. Like it's like a fucking jacuzzi tub, just relax.
Exactly.
It's okay.
From the jump, it was very obvious which team came into this game prepared and with a game plan, and which team had no game plan other than we're going to play soccer today. That's about the extent of the game plan. There was no patterns of play from the United side that you could speak of. There was no like, hey, we're going to sit back and just play on the counter. There was one guy pressing by himself, and then this is the wrong club to do that to. If you're not going to press together against City, you're going to get embarrassed, and that's exactly what happened because one dude would go, and we are masters at having fucking triangles everywhere on the pitch, and we just knocked the ball around them all day long. And it was the scoreline of 3-0 was great, but it was just utter domination. And any of those studio jokers at halftime of the game that said that penalty was not a penalty on Lindelof.
Like, are you fucking kidding me? Yeah, no, it was Hoyland.
Yeah, unreal that they. I mean, I get that they were trying to say shit to generate clicks and interest. And be like, oh, I can't believe they said this shit at halftime, because that was clearly Rodri making a run to the ball, getting grabbed around the waist and hooked and impeded his progress in the box. That is as blatant a penalty as you will get. So I don't want to hear any people talking about it was a controversial red card or penalty call. Get the fuck out of here. Exactly. It was a penalty. It was justified, and Erling buried that shit. And United, you're lucky that your keeper, who has been off form all season, and your big money guy to replace De Gea, decided to stand on his head a few times, because otherwise it would have been a 6-0 scoreline had he not made some absurd saves in both halves, in the first half and second half. There was a couple of them that were just like, I can't believe he just made that save, and who the fuck are you? Because that's not the guy that they have seen between the pipes all season.
For weeks at least.
Yeah.
Like at the start of the season, he had some good saves, but yeah, he's been letting fucking everything through. And then, and I mean, to be fair, it does all come back to fucking being a derby, yada, yada, yada. But like, God, it was like, I mean, I was just sitting there with like a half chub the whole fucking match. Like there was no point where I was like really worried, and yeah, just like,
nope, not one moment leading up to the game. I was not concerned. I didn't get to watch it live because both of my daughters had soccer games, so I was out on the soccer pitch pretty much all day between games. So, but there was never a point. So when I do that, I don't have notifications on, and I keep my phone away. But there was no point where I was exactly. So there was no point though where I was like, what if one of these messages is someone messaging me because we're not looking good? And I was like, there's no fucking way that's going to happen. So I'm fine. So, and turns out
it's not even.
We're good. So I thought from top to bottom of the starting 11, I don't think anybody played well. If we usually do positives and negatives. For the negative side at all, for us, I don't think I have one person who didn't play well. Does anybody stand out in your mind? Because it looks like you're thinking. For those who are listening, Kyle's got a very pensive look on his face, so he might have somebody.
So if I was going to be that big of a dick, because it would literally require that, is I would say Doku could have played a better game. Like I just felt like he played his game and he played well. But if you saw the comparison between the action between what's going on with Jack and what's going on over like it was just miles. Jack had a game. Jack came out and was like, "Hey, motherfuckers, remember me from last year? I'm still that dude. Like, I'm better. Like, let me like." And it doesn't. And that's the thing about Doku is he doesn't have to play over there. Like, we can switch him sides and still have that bursting speed. And realistically, I think that we should be and doing like an inverted versus like anyway. That's a whole other tactics situation. Which, by the way, my favorite fucking thing of the whole match is pre-match with Ten Hag being like, "So, can you explain the back line?" Because I think all of us wanted to hear his explanation of that back line.
What the fuck was everybody's, I think, thought when they saw it?
So him over there. Okay. And so we're talking about their wingers and Erling Haaland against Harry Maguire
and Johnny Evans.
And Johnny fucking Evans, who hasn't seen a minute in like
and Rafael Varane is healthy sitting on the bench.
Yeah, a healthy scratch. Because I even thought, like, why don't you play him as left back instead of fucking Lindelof? Like, I could see that.
Why?
Well, just because of his pace and like.
No. Why do you like? Why did you leave his ass out? Because he could have helped.
I mean, I still think he's dog shit, but like he's better. He's better.
You would think, right?
Like I thought Varane was like one of the most hilarious pickups they could ever do. And they were like, "Oh my god, we got the new fucking Vincent Company in this bitch." Blah, blah, blah. And it's like, dude, did you see him last year against us? Like, he had an own goal. He had a fucking own goal. What the fuck?
He was not good. He was not good against us.
Like, come on. And you want to be against us? You want to be better than your fucking rival? You know?
But I'm gonna circle back to your Jack versus Doku comparison. And shout out to our homie who is not feeling well and is not with us today, Colby.
I'm sorry that we are doing this just so late. By the
way, our bad on that one. We got rolling with some Ballon d'Or hate, and we got all riled up. But
flame brew.
Last show, if you listen and if you haven't, go back and listen. Colby brought this exact thing up and said it's ridiculous to compare the two because they're different guys. And did you fucking forget about Jack? And then lo and behold, the next game that comes up after Colby mentions all those things, Jack had a fucking match, just like Kyle said. He was fantastic all game. They couldn't do anything with him. And Jack was like, "Hey, don't forget about me. Doku's been great.
Check these calves.
Exactly. So Colby, we love you. Hope you feel better. And good on you for calling it out. And then Jack made you look like have some fucking foresight because he showed out. He showed out for us. And
it really was like, it was to me, like a lot of that game was like a Jack show. Like it was like just him getting after it. And it was fucking I mean, I really like want to see him played in that back position. Like we're trying to see Phil played in. So as like a reasonable cover for Kevin, because as of right now, it's so up in the air. I mean, Kevin, I still say has like 2 years in him with us.
At a high level.
Oh, at a high level. Yeah. Like still like maybe like 10 goals, 15 assists, shit like that, you know? But like we have to plan for 3 years, you know? So start getting these guys minutes in those positions so they start feeling out how they would play those passes and shit. Especially because like we have a younger fucking crew. Like it's valid to start planning in a way like that so you can build a whole attack, you know?
Yeah, because we with Erling, Phil, Julian, and Doku, all of them are under 23 years or younger. They're all
Right.
young. So that's your attacking quartet going forward. And the way we play, we usually have 5 kind of defensive-minded players and usually 5 more offensive attackers. You throw Jack in that mix, and you got a fucking squad going forward for a while. And Jack, a couple of times, we know when he's on the left, he's almost always looking to cut in onto his right foot and get into the middle. And towards the middle part of the first half and then into the second, I felt like he was picking up the ball in a little bit more central location, and Josko was giving more width and being the one doing the overlapping run and getting wide. And when you saw Jack more central, I felt like he was a lot more creative and he was able to be less predictable, because when he's the width guy on the outside and he takes it down the side, he's, like we've mentioned, he's always kind of cutting in on his right. So the defenders can kind of sit on that, because he's not usually going to go to the byline like Doku does and try to beat you with pace. He's going to try to cut in.
Right.
So when he's central like that, he can go left, he can go right. He's got more space to operate, so he's less predictable in his movements. I felt like that on against Man United, that allowed him to create more openings and more shots on goal when he was more towards the box and not on the byline. So I'd like to see that more. And with like you mentioned with Doku, he can play on the left or the right, either wing, and he's going to be that guy that's going to provide the width and the pace and go to drive the byline and try to put crosses in, more so than Jack when he's trying to cut in and get like a shot or a cross off.
So then, in opportunities to play Mateus, do you just play Jack in those spots sometimes?
I would be open to seeing that more often for sure.
That's what I'm saying.
I wouldn't mind seeing that.
Like I totally agree. Like his ability on ball isn't one-footed, you know? So like to pigeonhole him in that way does, like, same thing with Phil. Like to pigeonhole him in that way feels disrespectful to his ability. And like it's just one of those things where I feel like Bernardo ain't no spring chicken anymore. Like we're both of those two guys are probably going to end up being our attacking centers, and I'm not mad at it.
Nope. We are well positioned going forward still, because the front office has done such a good job at finding and keeping a balance between having a lot of younger guys that are chomping at the bit, but also having some of the older guard in there too. What tends to happen with clubs is they either have, which is random, something that happens with the U.S. women's national team is they have a lot of young talent that are awesome and got a lot of great potential, and they have a lot of older players who have done a lot of great things but are starting their decline.
Right.
What they're missing is those 23 to 25, 26-year-olds to bridge the gap. 28, yeah, in that range, in their prime. And City, I think, has done a fantastic job always in the transfer window of having a balance across the squad of ages, of having experienced veterans, guys in their prime, and that young talent that's pushing for more playing time, because
that needs to see those guys in their prime.
Yeah, exactly. So I think they do a great job with that, and I think we're well balanced with that regard. And one of my favorite things, I think, from watching was, even before we scored a goal, the majority of the noise that you could hear on TV was all City fans
singing,
super loud. And then as soon as the goal happened, it just got deathly silent on the United side when they had the camera panned and all you could see was the other sideline. There was no movement. There wasn't people like clapping, cheering. It was just a bunch of people sitting like this, just
like, well,
distraught.
It's gonna happen now, I guess. Like,
and then before the final kickoff or the final whistle, seeing half the stadium emptying ahead of time is always a lovely thing.
Empty Trafford, baby. Hashtag empty Trafford. Fuck you, bitches.
Amen to that. So that was fantastic, because our away fans always travel well and always represent in other clubs' home stadiums, but it was noticeably loud. And even when the United fans tried to like drown it out with their own chants, it wasn't happening. We could still hear them cheering. We got Guardiola, we've got Guardiola
Exactly.
over there like bullshit booing.
Say that you
no.
love me. Say that you love me.
So it was like, that was so much fun to watch. It was just it was a great 2 hours to watch that. That was just brilliant. So
It was so again, like I had a weekend of partying with a good buddy who I hadn't seen in a while. So like Sunday morning we were both stressed to be sure, which is
right.
probably why we were lackadaisical, because we just drank hard, like, immediately. And that was carrying a hangover too.
Well
so
done.
yeah. Oh, thank you. I mean, that's why I'm recovering now. But no, it was like as soon as it kicked off and like that first goal, that like as soon as I saw the penalty, we both just looked at each other like, well, that's one goal. Where do you think it goes from here? And he was like, well, we've seen like the last amount of time, it's gonna be you guys scoring more goals.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah. And realistically, like that 6-1 concept probably wouldn't have been too far off, though. Not didn't have a game, and Ederson didn't have a game, because, by the way, he did have a really good save in there.
He had at least, I know that one where he was diving and like they had the one arm palm up above.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
that joint was so good, and per usual, his distribution was phenomenal. There, like you just see him ping passes to the midfield line on a dime to the wide midfielders. It's just like,
and it'll be like 7 yards beyond or short of, just to like pop it right at their feet. Like, how the fuck?
like no other keeper on the planet is making that kind of pass.
Oh my God.
Just
so
not.
I don't know if you saw that bit, but so me and Tyler are sitting together watching the match, and a ball's coming back to Onana, and like Erling is on it and just like chase it down. And you see Onana, like, I mean, he has plenty of time to like sit back and make if he wanted, like a little, side cut pass and just like, you ran at me, whatever. Now, he just boots it ever loving fuck out of like the other third. Like, what the fuck are you doing? It's not kickball, brother. Like, come on.
Especially because the main reason they brought him in was because of his alleged ability with his feet and his distribution. That's what they said. They said De Gea is a great shot stopper, but he's not great with his feet, which is odd to think of since he's a Spanish goalkeeper. And usually anybody who's coming through the Spanish, like,
but we have to acknowledge that is true. I've seen so many balls popped out to midfield from him that are just like, we'll see.
Yeah. So it's good stuff. Any other thoughts, I guess, to wrap up the derby?
So everyone, I feel, again, like in order for us to go through a whole match and feel like that through a whole match says something. Like, even in their good counters, it was still like comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
It just says that like every single one of our dudes on that pitch were doing their job. And like Kyle Walker doing his, like, I mean, there was a lot of really good shit in there. And by the way, Gvardiol playing left back, like, that was fun. And scary at times in a way, but like, again, he has an ability with distribution. Obviously, defensively, he's fucking strong as fuck. So, I mean, it works. And it was just like, I have to figure it's making sure that everyone's getting their minutes. But it seemed like a touch of brilliance. Either way, it circles back to every single fucking person did their job. And yes, there were highlights for many of them, but the whole thing is it was a team match that just was like, we're going to overwhelm every aspect of United. And yes, fuck the Rags.
My one, just something that popped in my mind when you were talking about Kyle Walker, there was a couple of times where he picked the ball up and took a couple touches past the winger on that side. Every game I have these moments where I'm just like, God damn it, Kyle is fucking fast as shit.
Fast.
He's just so fucking fast. And I'm with the ball or recovery. When he makes those recovery runs, it's like, Jesus, he's 32, 33, and he's still like the fastest dude on the fucking field. And
Like
it's
Benny Jr. run at me. What the fuck?
I'm fucking Kyle Walker, bitch. Like you ain't doing shit to me. So that was one thing that popped in my mind. And then I would be remiss if we didn't mention how ridiculous it is that Bruno Fernandes is their fucking captain. And he's just the biggest whiny bitch there ever was on the field. And that's your fucking captain. That's the dude that you guys say that's our leader. And it speaks, I think, volumes, not just from a city perspective, but their own fucking people. Like Roy Keane went on a rant about it afterwards, saying like he needs to lose the armband. He doesn't represent what a leader should be. And it's like, why would you select him as the captain? I mean, granted, you had Harry Maguire before, but
well,
like,
that's what I was gonna say. Is we got to time out right there and just be like, so who gets it?
If you're not watching, it's cricket, and I'm laughing quietly because it's like there's really no great answer, and that just makes me very happy because we have like 5 or 6 that could easily be a captain on any club that they walk into, and they're like, who the fuck do we give this thing to? Bruno, I guess. And I am so glad that Doku waved his fucking finger in Bruno's face, was like, don't you fucking do that shit to me, and didn't back down. It was like, hey, we're not doing that shit, and got him all riled up because there was a couple of
Belgians,
moments there. Right? Kevin taught him well.
Exactly.
Kevin, good job, buddy.
Fuck the Portuguese.
Exactly.
Unless you're Bernie or Diaz
or Ruben. Well, that's our 2 now, because our other one we can say the same thing to, which we mentioned against last week, or when we talked about Barcelona with Joao being there. He can go ahead and kick rocks too.
Yeah.
So I had something and it just escaped my mind just then.
Well,
I got it. It's back now. It just came back. So this weekend we have Bournemouth, and we just whooped up on United and put a hurting on them. And now Erling has been slighted on the Ballon d'Or. How many does he put up this weekend against Bournemouth? Since they're sitting towards the bottom of the table, last I checked, and are not doing particularly well.
Well, right now, I think the better question is just how many does he put up going forward?
Okay.
So right now, he's leading the league by 3 goals, even though he just can't score in matches.
Journos.
And I just feel, I mean, he has 11 goals. He has fucking 11 goals. And so 11 goals, 10 matches. The closest best has 8 goals. That's a tie for like 3 different players, I think, or some shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
So the closest you can come to Erling Haaland's shit play is 3 goals back. And now Erling Haaland has just heard all of you guys say that he's not better than a guy who can win 1 trophy in a year and score 11 goals in 34 fucking matches in the fucking Farmer French League. Get the fuck out of here. He scores a bajillion goals in the hardest league in the fucking world. I'm sorry. I don't want to beat into that too much, but what it comes down to is Erling Haaland is going, like we talked about it earlier, he's progressing into his fucking tits form. He is about to come out, and while I don't think we'll see more than like a hatter, yeah, I'm going to say it's soft like that. I think we're going to see like 3 hatters in a row or some wild ass shit like that, because I think Erling Haaland is fucking livid, and everyone is starting to really actually mesh with him too. And like, the people who didn't get a lot of minutes with him last season are getting minutes with him, and those balls are starting to come the way he likes them. And like Bernie just knows where to fucking put that shit on a plate for him. Jesus Christ, he had 2 that were like should have been goals. 1 was a goal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's hatters. The thing. Like the journos are like poo-pooing him, like they don't have context. Like Kevin's not there. Kevin and him
Right.
instantly developed a chemistry at the beginning of the season last year, and Kevin was just putting the balls on fucking dimes to make it easy for him to score.
Yeah.
So with no Kevin there, and with Phil not having played centrally as often recently, he knows how to play there, obviously, but he the ball that he has to play from that position, from where he was last season out wide to Erling, is different. So he's going to have to adjust to how he's going to feed Erling Haaland, and then you have Alvarez playing next to him and sometimes behind him, and he's still like he's more in like a floating role. Sometimes he's next to him, sometimes he's dropping deeper. So we're still like sorting out how
I
we're
think
going
that's
to.
part of the plan, though, is just to let Alvarez roam and let Erling chill, because that is such a dimension that's like
exactly it's fantastic, and then which I like. It's just that's going to take a few a few moments, a few games to kind of get into a rhythm on how we're going to do these things, and they're starting to find that, because I think he had 2 in the Derby, he scored in the Champions League, and he's been last few games he's put the ball in the back.
And he
of the
put
net.
one up against right one or I don't know,
1 or 2.
I think he had 1 assist in that Brighton game.
Yeah, so it's like it's starting to come together. They're starting to figure things out. So obviously he's not going to start as fast as last season, because he doesn't have the fucking best assist man in the world right now at his disposal.
In the game, like,
yeah,
I'm sorry, Messi. Like, just let other people like take the fucking mantle for a little bit, you know?
Exactly. So
the guy's been working at it for a fucking minute, and it's been showing that he's up there. But again, all respect paid to Messi.
So we got this Saturday, Bournemouth. We talked about a little bit. We both, I think, are in agreement that that's going to be a pretty high number for us.
I mean, I don't want to, because I guarantee what's going to end up happening is they're going to play fucking 35 men behind the ball, and it's just going to be us like trying to chip away. So it might end up as just like a 1-0, 2-0. Or if they do try to come after us and actually play us, then yes, it's a fucking 6 or 7, because we're just hot right now.
Yeah, that's the thing. It won't be any like in between. It's either going to be like a 1-0 situation because they're just dropping everybody behind the ball, or it's going to be like a 7 or 8 number. I feel like there's not going to be any like in between shit, because
we got to pad the goals, baby.
Exactly. So we got that this weekend, and then next Tuesday we're back in action in the Champions League with our second game against Young Boys. This time it'll be at the Etihad, and if we win that particular match, we will have clinched at least progression through to the second round of the Champions League. We won't clinch first because Leipzig has won their 2 matches against Young Boys and Belstar Redgrade, or if you want to try to pronounce the other pronunciation of that whatever you want to say.
It's Kersher.
Yeah, so we won't clinch first place with this one. That'll probably come down to that last match against Leipzig, because they seem to be taking care of business against the 2 weaker teams in the group. But we'll at least have clinched progression into the knockout stages. So I think that's also going to be a opportunity for some of our younger guys to maybe get a few more minutes to rotate the squad a little bit, because after having a week off, I feel like the Bournemouth game, and it's the Premier League, so they prioritize that highly, that we're going to see a pretty strong side against Bournemouth, and then maybe see a little bit of rotation coming against Young Boys again. So we'll see what happens.
I think that's pretty much spot on. I think that, we're going to go into the weekend. I think we're going to go into the weekend because realistically, the only reason why Young Boys had a fucking chance in that match is because they were at home. Young Boys at the Etihad, like, it's over. So that's a walk. I mean, like, I hate to talk about any club like that, but come on. And like Bournemouth, like I like I said, like, 1 or 2 or 7 or 8. I think that we're going to see some interesting squads between the 2. I don't think it's going to be one as favored over the other. I think we're going to see like some hodgepodge squads between the 2, and just kind of like let guys get minutes. And but I think that's why also it's probably going to lean more toward like 2 goals or 1 goal for both of those matches, even just because of not having that kind of gel that we're used to. But either way, I think it's going to be great football, and City is going to win
for both of them. And then going into the international break, we wrap up
again.
I know another one. Jesus, we feel like we just had one, which we did like a week ago. We finish up that Sunday on November 12th again at Chelsea. So we'll get to go see our boy Cole Palmer, who's been playing very well for Chelsea, even though they're not necessarily getting the results that they might like. He, at least, I will say, has been playing very well. I watched some of their game this weekend, and he was by far their best midfielder and attacking option, which I think is saying something that our youth winger who hadn't gotten a lot of minutes as an attacking midfielder was the most creative player that they had playing in a number 10, and he was the only one it seemed like had any kind of idea of how to play and find open players, because anytime he was on the ball they looked dangerous, and if somebody else had it, it was like, ooh, not so much. So it was one of
like,
yeah, my one of my best friends, Zach, is a big Chelsea fan, and when we were watching and at the same time and texting, and he said Cole Palmer's the best attacking midfielder they've had in probably like 10 or 15 years. And it's like, that's a guy that we hadn't played in that role.
What the fuck?
He said it tongue in cheek because
I was gonna say, like, there is still like Eden Hazard.
Yes.
Like,
Well, yeah, it was said tongue in cheek because it's been a struggle the past couple of seasons for them. So, but I'm excited to watch that match because I have a couple of people who are Chelsea supporters, and it'll be nice to have some banter. Yeah, that too. Yes, put it on them and then have some banter amongst the group. So, and then we have a long 2-week break until after Thanksgiving, where we jump off with Liverpool again. So as we do a couple more shows, we'll definitely preview that one, because that's going to be a big matchup. That's going to be a big four matches actually for us looking ahead.
Wait, so the Chelsea match is the weekend before Thanksgiving?
Yes. So it's the 12th. And then
that's when we're trying to work out for
that'll be the Liverpool game, actually. The game that we're looking at. The Liverpool game is the 25th, which is the Saturday after Thanksgiving.
Okay, never mind.
So when we come out of the international break, we have Liverpool, Leipzig, Tottenham, and then Aston Villa. So that 4-match stretch is going to be a lot of fun to watch, I think, and it's going to tell us a lot about where we stand and how for real Tottenham might be, and how for real Liverpool's resurgence has been. And Villa has been playing great football too, so we'll see what Unai Emery has for us. But I think that's going to be a lot of fun. And if we can get that sorted out for the Liverpool match being when you're in town, and we can all be together to watch that one, that's going to be a fucking time and a half right there. I'm pumped about that.
I'm excited to have like 1 or 2 mics to just sit on together and say.
Hell yeah! So look forward to those shows coming down the pipeline, because we're gonna there'll be a lot of fun stuff to talk about pre-match and then post-match after the fact. So yeah, well, I think we did it. I think we talked about everything we need to talk about.
I think we accomplished an episode.
I think we did.
Yeah. Keep like he was saying, we have some stuff coming up. I mean, I don't know if we're gonna be able to turn into a live, but hopefully maybe a live show at some point, maybe in the near future. So that'd be cool if you guys can catch out that.
For sure.
Yeah.
We're gonna and keep an eye out, like you was saying, even if it's not the Liverpool match, we're gonna try to start having some live shows too on our pages, so you guys can maybe during those, if you have questions or things you want us to talk about or want to banter with us about via chat, please do when we decide to have a live here soon. That'll be a lot of fun to have some listener questions pop in. And if you guys ever do have questions or things you have comments about, send them our way. You know how to find us on social media. They're all below me over here. Instagram, Facebook, on X, Twitter, whatever it is. Make sure you like, make sure you comment on things, subscribe, share with your friends, hit those notification bells, all those good things that everybody has heard a million times because we all are on YouTube and listening to these things. So please share.
And some love to our sick buddy Colby and all that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And keep supporting the Man City podcast here and all the ones that we're kind of related to across the board because everybody's doing some great content. So we appreciate y'all, and we are gonna close out with a little Blue Moon. That's Kyle. That's Kyle. I'm Joe. Colby sends his love. We appreciate y'all, and we will catch you next time.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for listening.